In order to truly understand why crypto is crashing and when it's going to end, we have to understand the macroeconomic backdrop. The reality is we are in a financial crisis. Crypto trades on the weekends, and we bring that fear with us all weekend. And so right now, the market is pricing in financial disaster, but let's dive into what is truly going on to understand where we are going to go. First, we have this just setting up the framework. Let's keep perspective. Bitcoin isn't tanking because it's a bad investment. The economy as a whole is tanking, and Bitcoin is just riding the same wave. That is the most important thing. This is absolutely not a crypto story. Here we go. Economy is headed for recession/depression. Mortgages unserviceable. Global energy/food crisis. 60/40 portfolio ruined. That's the 60/40 stock bond portfolio. That's ruined. You can't invest in bonds anymore. Sovereign debt crisis, inflation rampant, consumer confidence at an all-time low. And so what happens in environments like this, guys? We know that interest rates is the oxygen of the financial system. We know that they're rising and the financial system is suffocating. This is what's happening right now. The Fed is lowering the oxygen in the room for everyone. The higher your savings and exposure to commodities, the longer you'll last in this type of environment. The higher your exposure to debt and consumer economy, the faster you'll expire. And so let's figure out who is exposed to this lowering of oxygen or raising of financial interest rates. The people in the room with the highest exposure to debt and consumer economies are governments around the world, Wall Street, Silicon Valley, pension funds, traditional investors. Okay, so what happens in scenarios like this? The Fed oxygen reduction has barely started, and many of them are already wheezing. Government bonds spiking dangerously, real estate trembling in boots, European banks. And so this is something to point out. As Zero Hedge says, remember, every Fed tightening cycle ends in disaster and then much more Fed easing. You guys probably don't remember, but right before the pandemic, the Fed was tightening. And so what happened? There was a financial collapse, and then they stepped in. And the question is, when? But this speaks volumes as to where we are going. The Fed is stuck. It can't jack up interest rates like Volcker did in 1980, higher than CPI inflation, because that would cause an instant economic meltdown. It can only lower the oxygen briefly as the global economy's a debt junkie. Inflation is the only way forward. Throughout history, governments have been faced with the choice. Do we bankrupt and send our people into depression and collapse the economy, or do we inflate away the currency? And right now, that's the US government's decision. Right now, the market is pricing in depression. They think the Fed and the entire economy is going to collapse. That's why crypto is crashing. Well, what do you guys think is going to happen when the market starts to price in inflation? Well, what's going to happen is every single asset class that is absolutely suffering right now is going to pump. So this is the bottom line. If you can just survive this, you're a Bitcoin OG, guys. Nothing is going to do better than crypto once this all finally recovers. Here's just a take. At some point, Amazon was down 94% from its all-time high. At some point, Netflix was down 82% from its all-time high. At some point, Tesla was down 61% from its all-time high. And yes, at some point, Bitcoin was down 85% from its all-time high. That is the game we are playing. What I love is that we're taking the same bet that every real estate stock investor is taking, but ours has much more upside and yes, much more downside, which helps on the upside if you can accumulate more in environments like this. So let's go into the crypto assets that are going to benefit the most from the recovering economy. Obviously, that's going to take a while. Obviously, they want to shake everyone out. Obviously, very few people are going to be left and interested in crypto once this is all said and done. But those few people that survive the winter should do extremely well. So let's talk about one of these assets. Elon Musk, I will keep supporting Dogecoin. Those are the most important words if you are a Dogecoin or crypto investor. He will keep supporting the asset that you are investing in, and he is the most influential entrepreneur in the world right now. That says everything about Dogecoin, its future, and how early stage and cheap it is right now. But let's figure out what is going on in this current environment. We have the 30-day active addresses by blockchain. You guys can see Binance is beating Ethereum in terms of active addresses, guys. If Binance can get through its regulatory hurdles, it's going to emerge from this as a dominant player in the space. So is Polygon. We also have action from Avalanche, Optimism, Phantom, Arbitrum, Cello. Everyone is sleeping on Cello. Solana is not on here. Cardano is not on here. These are just the ones this metric decided to show. But regardless, this says it all. These assets are strong. We'll stay on top of this market, guys. It's the 3rd year anniversary of the Algorand blockchain. Thousands of assets and companies are building on Algorand. That is the metric, thousands. We will cover this entire space. It is so exciting. This is one of those incredible opportunities to be an investor, guys, when everyone is afraid and the blood in the streets is palpable. We'll stay on top of it all.